Interesting Amazon news for you this morning. So the National Labor Relations Board, that's a government body that determines whether labor practices are fair or unfair, they have ruled against Amazon, saying that they illegally fired and retaliated against two internal critics. You can see both of them pictured there. Those employees are Emily Cunningham and Marin Costa. They had, this according to the New York Times, publicly pushed the company to reduce its impact on climate change and also to address concerns about its warehouse workers. So the NLRB is encouraging Amazon to come to a settlement with these two women. There's another activist that they found who led a walkout at the Queens Fulfillment Center, and that's their jargon, warehouse, the Queens warehouse, saying that they illegally intimidated him and had this aggressive negotiation with someone who had identified himself as former law enforcement. What does this ultimately mean? Well, unfortunately, not a whole lot. NLRB doesn't have a whole lot of teeth. That's one thing that would be changed somewhat if the PRO Act were actually passed. The two women who are involved here describe this as a moral victory, which I think is about as far as you could take it. However, significantly buried in this piece is the fact that the NLRB is looking at launching a national investigation into Amazon's labor practices. Why? Because they receive far more labor complaints than other similarly sized corporations, and the number of complaints that the NLRB has been receiving alleging improper, illegal labor tactics has skyrocketed over the past year or so. So they're looking at having a full federal investigation into Amazon. That to me would be, this is important, but that would be also extraordinarily significant.
Yeah, reading through this is actually really interesting because it reveals some of the big problems we have in terms of labor, which is that you can even find they illegally do something. And in terms of what happens, there's not a whole lot of teeth whenever it comes to these. And these kind of discrete episodes happen so often across the board. If the union vote does fail in Bessemer, it's very likely because of many of the tactics that were used by Amazon
100%.
Against them. And then you can see in the way they are going to tout that politically is really crazy. I've been reading and trying to keep up with some of the discourse in Silicon Valley around Bezos' move. Nearly everybody there has their head scratched on this, which is what is going on in terms of your people? Because Bezos has long time been just one of those people who he's keeping mouth shut, very careful on PR. But on this, blew a gasket, just said, no, I'm going to all out war. I think it does tell you a lot. And I was listening recently to a podcast where somebody said this, and it really struck me, which is, look, Jeff Bezos, you're the richest guy in the world. The literal just additions to your net worth over the pandemic have been $50 billion. You could just use that to set up the largest worker benefit plan in the history of American corporations. You could provide free childcare to every Amazon employee. You could also give benefits. You could give wages. You could remove the contractors. It's not day one anymore. It's not Amazon bookstore in 1998. That's fine then. But right now, what are you doing, dude? You're actually inviting the entire country to unite against you for no reason. And it actually just exposes the level of greed because all you have to, literally, the additions just in the pandemic would pay for everything I'm talking about.
Yep.
And he would be one of the most beloved figures since Henry Ford's $5 a day wage. They could actually credibly say, our employees love us. Instead, peeing in bottles, shitting in bags, anti-union stuff, just being not only no, but hell no.
Right.
I'll never understand it. Maybe that's why I'm not worth $160 billion.
I truly can't understand it either. No, we covered how not even through the whole year, but through September, the wealth that he'd gained, he could give every single Amazon worker a $100,000 bonus.
That's what I'm talking about. It's
every
crazy.
Single one in the world. If there are tens of thousands of workers, he could give a $100,000 bonus to. And instead, go into the mat to make sure that this one warehouse can't organize.
It's nuts.
Retaliating, hiring spies, hiring Pinkerton thugs, going all in on this crazy Twitter war. It really is wild. And I think it exposes, in the Obama era, Amazon was beloved by both parties.
Oh, yeah. And Google and Facebook, too.
Loved by the Obama people, Jay Carney working there now, loved by the Republicans because business is king. And now Republicans have a skeptical view of them just on the sort of surface level, cultural woke HR departments, as Marco Rubio put it, stuff. And Democrats are taking a much more skeptical look at them and the power that they have. And so is that a real threat to Amazon's profitability and future? Not really.
Yeah.
But could it cut into their margins? Yeah, it could cut into their margins. Could it cut into their glowing, to this point, public persona? Yeah, it could cut into that too. So I think he's feeling he's never been in this position before where they're not just loved and accepted and given whatever they want by all of the political parties. So it is a really, really interesting dynamic, and we'll certainly follow it here. Again, it really is a damn shame. There was a great story in the New York Times about how there was a group in Virginia of, I think they were machinists, who wanted to organize. Mm-hmm. And Amazon illegally retaliated, threatened to fire them, so reportedly they deny all of this, et cetera, et cetera. Specifically threatened to fire this one guy, who they did end up ultimately firing. The NLRB came in and found in favor of the workers. What did Amazon have to do? They have to post flyers around the workplace. Right. That's it. They had to post flyers. And that was part of the settlement here, too, is they're supposed to settle with these workers, and they also have to post some flyers around the workplace about worker rights. So that's where we are.
Yeah.
Tomorrow in Rising, Alec McGillis on the Amazon vote, plus Brianna Joy Gray, Max Alvarez, and Henry Rogers. They're going to join us, too.
It's going to be fun. Remember to hit the subscribe button. Don't miss any of our videos. Don't forget to like and share as well. And we will see you all tomorrow.
Have a good one, guys.